Okay, so we will start our actual syllabus, which is electrostatics. So is it visible, the screen? Okay, so we'll start electrostatics now. So this electrostatics, which is actually deals with the fundamental study or the fundamental concepts which are involved, applicable or involved, so the static electric fields. Okay, so it involves the static electric fields. Okay, and note down here these static electric fields which are there in free space. Okay, which are there in free space or vacuum. We can call it as vacuum or free space. So if I say electrostatics, it is the study of static electric fields in free space or vacuum. So that even we will study the static electric fields in material medium also, that we will see later. But so until unless I say in material medium, this static electric fields which will be there in the free space. Okay, so these concepts are applicable to free space. Okay, so now, so when the electrostatic field will be produced. Okay, so whenever there is a static charge. Okay, whenever there is a static charge distribution. Okay, whenever there is a static charge distribution, then this electrostatic field will be produced. Okay, electrostatic field will be produced. Okay, so if I take an example, so you might have seen the cathode ray tubes. So whenever the power goes off, there is a center at the center of the screen, there will be a spotlight. So that is due to electrostatics only. Okay, so in a similar way, many examples are there, and also this electrostatics which will be applicable to many applications. So say for example, if you have if you take the applications like electric power transfer. Okay, electric power transfer, and even X-ray machines. Okay, and also even lightning protection. If you have in the rainy seasons, if you have a lightning, so in order to protect that, so they will develop a device which is electrostatic device. So these are all these applications which will be having very strong electric fields. Okay, so in order to protect so that the strong electric field, so they will use electrostatics and they will develop a system or device. And in order to study how these are working, it requires the concepts of electrostatics. Okay, so now even we can study the component level, that is how the capacitor it is behaving, or how the capacitor is made. Even in the ceramic capacitor or different types of capacitors which we have used. So those are all, even it involves the concepts of electrostatic fields. Even the transistors which is active devices, BJT, FET, whatever you are studying, so that is the control of the electrons. The motion of the electrons will be controlled in order to get the required function. That is, whether if you bias the transistor, it will be on region, off region. So all these things, so it will be through the control of so those involves the concepts of electrostatic fields. Even in the computer peripherals, or if you take any device so related to electronics, so those peripherals also having use the concept of electrostatic fields. And also the magnetic memory, it will be exceptional because it will use magnetic materials and it will have the magnetic field. So except that, all other computer peripherals, they will use the electrostatic fields. Okay, and also even if you go for LCD, liquid crystal displays, and CRT, even capacitive touch keyboards are there. So all these things, so this will be used the concepts of electrostatics. Okay, and also in medical fields, So to diagnose, as I said, they will try to find out the dielectric constant of tissues, and they will going to diagnose the with the aid of this electrostatics. Even with respect to ECG and EEG, because the every cell which is there in the body, it will be a charged particle, so it may produce some field. Okay, based on that, so they will going to treat the cells or treat the disease, and they will produce the ECG of a person or EEG of a person. And also in industrial applications also it will be very useful, so in variety of forms. So electro deposition, electrochemical machining, so all these, and also separation of fine particles which are there in industrial applications. Those are all it will be used, the concepts of electrostatics. Even you can use the agricultural system to separate the seeds and even other different types of sprayings, and also to measure the moisture content of the crops. So all those things it will involve the electrostatics. Okay, so now after these applications, what are the basic concepts we have in electrostatics is, so it is begins with some study of two fundamental laws. Okay, so there are two basic fundamental laws. Okay, so the first one is the fundamental law which is governing these electrostatic fields, which is studied by Coulomb. So the scientist Coulomb, so that's why it is called as the Coulomb's law. And second one, it is Gauss's law. So even though, so these two laws, so it is related to electrostatic field, but they will independent, that is the experimental study of these two scientists, they will done independently, and they have formulated their own laws. Okay, so even though it is related to the charge distribution and electrostatics, but they have done individually and they have presented the result individually. Okay, so this Coulomb's law, if I just take the first one, the Coulomb's law, so we will study even Gauss law also. So this Coulomb's law, it is applicable to finding the electric field due to any charge configuration. So that means if I take some region and there will be a charge distribution, so either it may be in this configuration or it may be in other configuration, like, so if I take the charge or line, whatever it is. Okay, so any charge configuration, if it is there in a free space, so I need to find out what is the electric field produced by this charge configuration. So that we can able to find out by using the Coulomb's law. Okay, and this Gauss law, it is applicable. So the charge configuration or charge distribution, if we take over a region, if it is symmetrical. Okay, so if the charge distribution is symmetrical, so then we can apply easily the Gauss law and we can find out the charge configuration, and we can find out the corresponding the quantities, that field quantities, that is force, electric field and everything. Okay, so now this, if you come to the first one, the Coulomb's law. So based on this Coulomb's law, the electric field intensity or electric field strength, it is calculated, and also it is applied to different charge configuration. As I said, so the charge configuration, it may be, so to find out electric field due to like point charge, it may be point charge in the sense, you can take an example of just a pin head, so it will contain a point charge. Okay, even line charge, so it is the charge distribution over a line. Okay, so even the surface charge, okay, surface charge distribution, that is over a region of the surface, so like this. Okay, so the line charge, it may be just a line, the charge distribution around a single line. Okay, so if you just take a simple wire arc kind of thing, so how the charge distribution, that will be called as line charge. And if I take any surface, material surface, how the charge distribution, that is called as surface charge. And similarly volume charge. Okay, so now this Coulomb's law, it deals with the electric field, so intensity or electric field strength, which is produced by a different charge configuration. So either it may be point charge, or it may be line charge, or it may be surface or volume charges. So now if I apply Coulomb's law for a particular problem, okay, so even if I apply to a particular problem, it may be treat it as, or it may be to calculate electric field intensity, it may become difficult in the Coulomb's law. So that will be solved easily by using Gauss law, because we are applying Gauss law for a symmetrical charge distribution. If the charge distribution is symmetrical, then we can easily find out the field quantities using Gauss law. So the problems which are very much tedious job in Coulomb's law can be easily solved in Gauss law. Okay, so as I said, this is overall whatever we are discussing, it is in the free space or vacuum. So this is about how the problem can be solved by using Coulomb's and Gauss law. That is how the charge distribution, what are all the types of charge distribution we can able to find out the electric field strength using these two laws. Okay, so now first we will study what is the Coulomb's law and what it states that. Okay, first one, Coulomb's law. Okay, so now this Coulomb's law, so as I said, this is individually done an experiment by the scientist Charles Augustin Coulomb. Okay, so what he says that, or what it actually the law which will says that it deals with the force. Okay, basically first it deals with the force. Okay, the point charge, that is if I take two charges which are located here, if I take the 2 point charges Q1 and Q2 which are located, so now this deals with the force, okay, which a point charge, say for example this is a point charge Q1 and this is a point charge Q2. Okay, so the point charge Q1 exerts a force on point charge Q2. Okay, so if I take just a free space over a region, if I place 2 point charges, okay, so now what Coulomb's law deals with, it deals with the force exerts a point charge Q1 on the point charge Q2. Okay, so that force if you calculate, so then this Coulomb's law so deals with that force. Now we will study how the force exerts and what direction it is existing and all. Okay, so as I said, point charge in the sense, just if you take the pinhead, so like this, if I take a pinhead at the point of the pinhead, it can be regarded as point charge. Okay, even the charge whatever we are taking, so the polarity may be positive or negative. Okay, the polarity of the charge, it may be positive or negative. Now from the basic physics we know, so the like charges it will going to repel each other, unlike charges it will going to attract. Okay, so now this charge can be generally expressed in the units coulombs. Okay, so this coulomb, it can be expressed the unit of this charge. So we know that, so the electron, what is the value of that charge of an electron? It is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. So this is, so if I take a charge, one electron, one charge, it will be having this much 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. So this will be so measured in coulombs. So now if I take 1 coulomb, okay, 1 coulomb, how much it contains electrons? So if we take the inverse of this charge, you will get how much electrons which is containing 1 coulomb. Okay, so if I take the inverse of this, it will be a huge, and it may be, so you can calculate around, it will come around 6 into 10 power 18 electrons. Okay, so this much amount of electrons the 1 coulomb contains. So you can see how much electrons are there. So the 1 coulomb is, it's a big amount of charge. Okay, so since it is having more number of electrons, so that's why the 1 coulomb is a very large value. So that's why in any problem, or you can in any of the situation, we will take a very small unit, so that is in millicoulombs, nanocoulombs, like that. Okay. So now what exactly this Coulomb's law states that. So now if I take a two charge, okay, so as I said Q1 and there is a Q2, if I take 2 point charges, okay, and if I take the distance between these 2 point charges is R, okay, and so the force exerts the point charge Q1 on the point charge Q2, so which I will take the force in the direction of, so in this direction. So if I take just from point 1 to point 2, if I take the distance between the charge Q1 and Q2 at point 1 and point 2 as R12, now the force which is acting on Q2 from Q1, so I will take it as F12, so in the direction of AR12. Okay, so if I take the direction of force exerts on Q2 from Q1, I will take it as the force F12, so in the direction of unit vector AR12, that is in this direction. So now if I take the force exert on Q1 from charge Q2, so it is in the direction of F21 and unit vector AR21. Okay, so this is what, so the directions of force. And now the Coulomb's law states that, or so the Coulomb's law, it deals with the force F. Okay, the force, whatever I have written here, the force generally will have this force, the symbol force F. The force F, so between 2 point charges, that is Q1 and Q2, so this is directly proportional to the product of the charges Q1 and Q2. Okay, and the force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the point charges. Okay, so it deals with the directly, the force between 2 point charges, it is directly proportional to the product of the 2 charges, and it is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between these 2 point charges. And also the force which is exerted, it is along the line joining of these 2 point charges. So now you can see, if I take the line joining on these 2 charges, it is along the direction of like this, or it may be like this. So it is always along the line joining between the 2 charges. So the F, which is always acts along the line joining between them, that is between 2 point charges. Okay, so this is what the law says that. So now if I write, so mathematically by combining all these things, so it is proportional to Q1 Q2 divided by, so R12 square. Okay, so this is what we have, the force between 2 point charges. So now if I take the proportionality constant, which is denoted as K, okay, so that K we have to find out the value. So that is the force F, which is equal to the proportionality constant, I can write it as K into Q1 by Q2 divided by R12 square. So now this proportionality constant K, so this will be depends on the choice of units, that is Q1 Q2. So if I take in SI units, okay, in SI units, so now what is Q1? So we have known the charge, unit of the charge is in coulombs. Okay, unit of charge in coulombs. And if I take the distance in SI meter, that is in SI units distance, so in SI unit it is in meter. Now if I take that one, so this can be written as the constant, which is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, so this epsilon naught, which will be called it as the permittivity of free space, that is the permittivity permittivity of free space. Okay, and it is given by the value, it is 8.854 into 10 power minus 12 farad per meter. So this is what the constant, that is epsilon naught. So now for the further calculation purpose, so we can take the value of this one, which is, we can simplify this one, 10 power minus 9 divided by 36 pi. So this is for the calculation purpose, we can approximately we can write like this. Okay, so now you can substitute the value of epsilon naught and you can find out the constant, the proportionality constant, that is 4 pi into, so if I substitute the epsilon naught, 10 power minus 9 by 36 pi, okay, so which will give, so 9 into 10 power 9, so milli, that is meter per farad. Okay, so this is the value of constant for the, so simplification purpose. And so in the expression form, the constant, the proportionality constant, which is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, so now if I substitute that one, so your force will, mathematically the force can be expressed by using all these terms as q1 q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r12 square. So now this force we need to express in the unit vector. So because the direction, it is always in the, so the force is associated with always the unit vector, either in this direction or in this direction. Okay, so now I'll take this one in this direction, ar12. Okay, so I'll express this one as ar12, that is the unit vector. Okay, so now if I take the charge configuration, so with respect to coordinate system, say for example, hello, any doubt?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So what is the SI unit of this coefficient, sir?
So that is what we have written here. No?
Constant, sir, sorry.
Yeah, here written. No?
Hello.
Hello. Hello, proportionality constant you are asking, right?
Yes, sir. Can you again tell that part, sir? Like, what is the SI unit of that, sir?
So this is meter per farad.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank
Because
you, sir.
here epsilon naught is the value which is having the unit, right? Farad per meter. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So inverse of that you will get meter per farad.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So now if I take the charge distribution, so whatever the point charge which is there, so with respect to the coordinate system, say for example q1 and q2 which are located. Okay, so now if I take from the origin, so which we have already discussed, if q1 it is there somewhere in x comma y comma z, and q2 is there x1 comma y1 comma z1. Okay, and the distance which is from the origin, let us take this one as r2 and let us take this one as r1. So now we can have for this one position vectors. Okay, so the position vector r1 and position vector r2. Okay, so now if I take like this the position vectors, okay, so now we can have this r12, okay, the distance between the 2 point charges. So that will be, so if I take this one as r12, because this is r12 which is a distance between 2 point charges, so that r12, so if I express in terms of position vectors, it is r2 minus r1. Okay, so if I express in terms of position vectors, it is r2 minus r1. Similarly, if I for convenience, if I take r, which is the magnitude of r12, okay, so for convenience I will take r as the magnitude of r12. So now if I want to calculate, that is the unit vector, so what is the expression for unit vector? It is the vector r12 divided by its magnitude. So that we have seen already. So now if I express this r12 in terms of the position vectors r1 and r2, so it is nothing but r2 minus r1 divided by magnitude of R2 minus R1. Okay, so now if I substitute this unit vector, okay, in the equation, the force equation, so then we will get it as the force which is given by Q1 Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. So as I said, for convenience I am taking R12 magnitude as R. So we can write it as this one R square. Now this one AR12 we can express it as the vector which is, so R12 by R12 magnitude. So that is R2 minus R1 divided by magnitude of R2 minus R1. Okay. So now we know R, which is nothing but again R12. So R12 is nothing but R2 minus R1. So which is given by, so the distance. So we can rewrite it as Q1 by Q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. So R2 minus R1. So this divided by magnitude of R2 minus R1 whole cube. Okay. So is it understood this one? Any doubt? This is a force equation which is calculated due to the charge Q1 which exerts the force on Q2. Okay. So now if actually this one we have calculated as F12. So between 1 to 2, that is the force exerts on charge 2 from 1. Now if I take the in other direction, okay, so F21, the force acting in the direction of AR21. Okay, so now if I take that one, it is nothing but the magnitude of this force F21 in the direction of AR21. Is it not? So now we know already the magnitude of F12 is nothing but same as F21. So the magnitude is same but the direction will going to change. Is it not? So the magnitude can be written as, it is same as F12, the magnitude of force which is same as F12, but the direction it is negative AR12. That is, if I take AR21, the direction from 2 to 1, which is nothing but it is a negative direction of AR12. Okay, so now we can substitute that one. So and we will get it as, so this is F12 magnitude which is minus of AR12. So this we can write it as F12, that is force F12 negative of force F12. That is, we can write the force from, that is 2 to 1. So it is equal to negative of force from 1 to 2. Okay. So this is what the force in the two directions, whatever it is. So now we have discussed already. So the like charges, with whenever you have the plus and plus, it will going to repel each other, right? Is it not? And similarly, if I have negative charges, again they will going to repel each other. Now if I have unlike charges, that is plus and minus, this will going to attract each other. Okay. So now we have to take the sign into consideration. The charge, whatever we are taking, the charge we have to take into the sign of the charge we have to take into consideration. And also, so some of the points we need to note down here. Okay, so the charge of the sign, whatever we are going to have, sign of the charge, so we need to take into consideration. And also the distance r, so whatever we have said here, the distance r, it should be very much large compared to the dimension of the charge. Okay, so dimension of the charge body. If I take Q1 on a charge body, the dimension of that body should be very less than the distance r. Okay, or the r should be greater than the dimension of the charged body. Okay, so that you need to take care. And so as I said, so this is electrostatics. So the charges must be at static or at rest. Charges are at rest. Okay, charges are at rest. And also, as I said, whenever we take the signs, so if I take just Q1 and Q2, if both are positive, so then it will be greater than 0, the charge whatever we calculate, it should be greater than 0. And even if you take negative minus q1 minus q2, again if you multiply, that should be greater than 0. And if I take unlike charges, so it will be always, the product will be always less than 0, because plus into minus it will become minus. Okay, so this is about the very important points we need to take care while doing some problems based on the electrostatic. Okay, so now if we have two more, like now we have discussed only for 2 point charges. Now if we have a more point charges, say one more here, one more here, one more here, like that. So if I have many point charges, if I have point charges which are 2 or more, then how to find out the force? So now the force can be found out by using the superposition principle. Okay, so now, so if the charges, if I take the charges which are located q1 to qn, some n number of charges which are located in a distance, that is r1 to rn. Okay, so now we can apply and the superposition law to find out the resultant force F. Okay, so now say for example, if I consider the coordinate system, okay, as I said, q1, q2, q3, q4 up to some qn. Okay, so the qn are located. Okay, so now what are the force exerts between all these charges on a charge q, which is located somewhere in, so that is r. Okay, if I take this is located at a distance r, okay, from the origin, and these are all located at a particular distances r1, r2 and up to rn. So now what are the resultant force exerts all these charges on a charge q, which is located at a distance r. So this can be found out by using the superposition theorem, and we can write the equation as F equal to, okay, so F equal to q1. So now we have to find out the force exerts on this point charge q from all other these charges. So we can write it as the addition of all these forces, okay, which gives the resultant force exerts on this charge. That is, so the force exerts on this charge q from q1. So and this is located, the q is located at r, so the q1 is located at r1. So if I take the vectors, the position vectors r minus r1, it will come. And similarly, so we have 4 pi epsilon naught r minus r1, the magnitude of this whole cube. So now general equation if you write here, so if I write the general equation, it is q1 q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught, so r minus, that is r2 minus r1 whole cube into r2 minus r1, right? So like this we have written. So instead of these position vectors, now we are considering q1 as q and q2 as a different configurations, and along with that particular position vectors we are writing. So this is the force exert on charge q from q1. And similarly we can write from q2 the force which is exerts from q2 on q. Okay, epsilon naught, the magnitude of r minus r2 whole cube. Okay, and similarly you can write up to the n charge q into qn, so that is r minus rn divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r minus rn whole cube. Okay, so now in general we can write the force equation. So this q by 4 pi epsilon naught is constant, that is it is constant from all the terms. We can take it outside, q by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay, so now we can write q1, q2, q3 up to qn. Okay, so we can write the summation. The k varies from 1 to n number of charges. Okay, so here qk, okay, into r minus rk, so this divided by r minus rk magnitude whole cube. Okay, we can write, so the resultant force due to n number of charges which is exerts the force on this cube. So now again, so we have already incorporated the unit vector in this. Okay, so it is r minus r minus r1 divided by r minus r1 whole cube. So that is in the direction of ar1. So that is from q1 to the force q. So that is, so this one. So this is the direction of the ar1, this is the direction of ar2, and resultant will be so incorporated in this equation. Okay, so this is about the force which is calculated due to n number of charges. Okay, so is it understood? Any doubt in this? Hello, is it understood? Anybody has any doubt? Okay, so now we can do one simple problem. So if I take the charge q1, okay, so which is having 1 millicoulomb, which is at the point, which is located at the point 1, 2, 3, okay, and the charge q2 which is having 3 millicoulomb, which is located at 2, 3, 5. Okay, so now you need to calculate the force between charge q1 and q2. Okay, calculate the charge, that is calculate the force between the charge q1 and q2. Okay, so calculate the force between the charge q1 and q2 in the direction from q1 to q2. Okay, so calculate the force between charge q1 and q2 in the direction from q1 to q2. So that is, you have to find out ar12. Okay, in the direction of ar12. So now we can have the solution. So if I just take this one, so it is located, the q1 is located at 1, 2, 3, and q2 which is located at 2, 3, 5. Okay, so now we have to calculate what is the force. Okay, the distance we can, so the distance formula you know, so that is between, so r1 minus r2, or if you are in the direction of this. Okay, so you can calculate. So now how to calculate? Apply the formula, the force equation, that is force F12, so which is equal to q1 q2 by 4 pi epsilon naught into, that is r1 minus r2 divided by r1 minus r2 whole cube. So that is in the direction of F12 or ar12. Okay, so now we can have the unit, that position vectors. You can have this one 1, 2, 3 minus 2, 3, 5, and substitute the values of q1 and q2, 1 millicoulomb and 3 millicoulomb, and substitute the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon. So you will get the answer. So tell me the answer, try to calculate. Okay, so what is the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught? That is, you can write directly 9 into 10 power 9. Okay, this is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into, so what is r1? R1 is 1, 2, 3 minus 2, 3, 5. Okay, so the magnitude we can have, that is 1 minus 2 whole square, the square root of, okay, plus 2 minus 3 whole square plus 3 minus 5 whole square. So this is whole power, so or you can have whole cube, or if you take the magnitude square root, so or if you can take outside the square root, so this will be 3 by 2. If I don't write the square root, you can write it as 3 by 2. Okay, so calculate it and just tell me the value. So this whatever r minus r2, the magnitude whole cube, we can calculate. So that is 1 minus 2 is minus 1, minus 1 square is 1, okay, plus 2 minus 3 whole square, again minus 1 whole square is 1, plus 3 minus 5, it is minus 2 whole square is plus 4. So this whole power 3 by 2. So it is 6 power 3 by 2. Okay, so that you can write here. So value, so 1 into 3, 3, so millicoulomb, so milli into milli 10 power minus 6, so this into 9 into 10 power 9. Okay, so and this value we will get it as 6 power 3 by 2 or square root of 6 cube. Okay, so into the vector, so whatever it is, so 1 minus 2 it is minus 1, 2 minus 3 it is minus 1, 3 minus 5 it is minus 2. Okay, so now calculate. So calculate and tell me the value. So it is again 9 3s are 27 into 10 power 3 divided by square root of 6 cube, the direction minus 1 minus 1 minus 2. So what is the f? So whatever value it will come, just multiply in the direction of, if I take ax, ay, az unit vectors in that direction. That is the force which is exact between the two charges, which is 1 millicoulomb and 3 millicoulomb. Is it understood? Any doubt? Hello? Is it understood? What is the answer? Harini? Fardeen Ahmad, understood? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, calculate it. What is the value? Just tell me. Nivedita? Hello, Nivedita, any doubt? Understood?
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
Raghavendra Rao?
Yes, sir.
Sonu Bhatt?
Yes, sir. Doing, sir.
Okay. Sonia? Yashaswini?
Understood, sir.
Okay, so try to do that and get the answer for that problem. It's just a simple calculation, so we will get some value in ax direction and some value in ay and az direction. So that values you have to write it. Okay, so this is about the simple problem. So now we will take one more problem, that is superposition of this many number of charges. So that we will do in the next class. Okay, so one more problem we will do and we will move on to the electric field intensity. Okay, so we will stop here and we will do more problems. And some of the extra problems I will give it as a separate material. Okay, so some of the solved problems and also to assignment, so that you can give it at the end of the unit, so you can study those also. Okay, so we'll stop here, we'll continue in the next.